is state. Now, how do you affect your emotions? You could do it two simple ways: alter your psychology or your physiology, right? Your self-talk or the questions you ask yourself determine your focus and how you feel, or you can move your body in a certain way. Remember this, as your body moves, your brain grooves. When you move your body, you actually create these things called brain-derived neurotropic factors, which is like fertilizer for your brain. So you want to be able to move, and it could change the way you feel. But as you're going through this program and in this book or learning any subject or skill, I want you to be conscious of how you feel. Now, who's in control of how you feel? Of course you know the answer. It's you, right? You have the responsibility. It's not where you're reacting to things, because here's a secret. Here's the magic secret. You don't have energy, you do energy. When you go through this program, you might hypnotize yourself into thinking, oh, I don't have motivation, I don't have creativity, I don't have focus, I don't have energy. But these are not things you have, these are things you do. And you're lying to yourself, or you putting yourself into this hypnosis saying, oh, I either have it or I don't have it. But when you find out it's actually a method or a process, then it gives you your sovereignty back. It gives you your power back. So you affect how you feel. So what's the takeaway? When you're studying something brand new, make sure you're in that state where you're most receptive, because the state you learn something in is the state you encode it in, and that helps you to be able to retrieve it better. So monitor your state. All right, what's the T in FASTER? The T stands for teach. What do I mean by that? One of the fastest ways to learn something, to become truly limitless, is learn with the intention of teaching somebody else. You know, I want to challenge you as you go through this program and you read this book. I want to challenge you to read it and learn it as if you're going to teach somebody else. Like right now, think about somebody you wish was watching this with you. Think about somebody you wish was going to read this book. So not only can you gift this book to somebody or have them enroll in this program and do it with you, you have a learning buddy, but I want you to learn with the intention of teaching. If you had, as you're thinking about this special person, you had to be able to coach that person the next day, would your attention be different? Would you take notes differently? Would you ask more questions? Of course. And when you're teaching something, you get to learn it twice. When you teach something, you get to learn it twice. So think about the person you want to help, and you learn to earn so you can return, and you pay it forward. So learn to teach. Now, the E in FASTER stands for entry. What do I mean by that? What's the top #1 productivity performance tool that you have? I would suggest it's your calendar. Most people put in their calendar doctor's appointments or meetings or classes, but rarely do they put their own personal growth. And so what I'm going to ask you to do is, as you're going through this program and reading this book, I want you to schedule it. Because if you just talk about it, it's not going to happen. But if you put it in your calendar and you treat it as time for you, time well spent, time when you're going to read this book, time when you're going to watch this program. Because here's the thing, if you don't put in your calendar, it just won't happen. So the E in FASTER stands for entry. Enter it into your calendar. And before I tell you what the R in FASTER stands for, one of the reasons why we're going through this is to overcome the supervillain of the forgetting curve. What's the forgetting curve? Have you ever learned something and then a day or two later, what happens? You just forget it, right? You cram all night, you can't wait to take the test, and once you take the test, what happens? A couple days later, the information is just gone. That's the forgetting curve. Research suggests that up to 50% could be gone the next day, and even more than that within 48 hours. Now, how do you mitigate and lessen the forgetting curve? One of the things you could do is the R is review. And specifically what I mean is spaced repetition. Studies suggest that if you review information in a spaced interval, it helps to consolidate short to long-term memory. So what I suggest as an easy way to remember, before you start the next day's program or your next day's reading, review what you learned the day before. And if you space the review out, it helps you to consolidate short to long-term memory. So again, do you remember what FASTER stands for? This is the active review. F stands for what? Forget. Temporarily forget what? What you know about the information, what's going on in distractions, and forget about also, I would say, your limitations, which we'll show you in this program how to do. The A stands for what? Be active, because learning is not a spectator sport. The S stands for monitor your state, because all learning is state dependent. Never learn something when you're tired or bored. Get yourself curious by asking questions here and moving your body. The T stands for teach, because your intent matters. When you learn to teach, you learn it better, because when you teach something, you get to learn it twice. The E stands for what? Entry. One of the most powerful productivity performance tools you have is your calendar. Make sure you enter and schedule your learning for this program and your reading for this book. So finally, what does the R stand for? Review. Spaced repetition helps to consolidate short to long-term memory. So that's the FASTER process. And what are you gonna do right now? The goal is to commit to this community. This is day one. You made it through this day one. What we want to do is in the comments, I wanted you to share a little bit about yourself. Why did you get this book? Why did you join this program? Where are you from? And what do you want to get out of it? And how can we support each other on this? And if you're willing to, in big, bold capital letters, I want you to say, I am limitless. This is your brain coach, Jim Quick. I'll see you in our next session.